Hey guys, Hamsterwheel here with a new video, and welcome to episode 8 of the Classic Armory, a video series where we go over what weapons you can get for your class from 1 to 60 to make sure that you'll have a good set of weapons to look forward to and keep you up to date with your level. Today we'll be focusing on the last clothy caster on the Horde side, the Priest. Now this list is going to be somewhat similar to the Mage and Warlock one, but due to their talent Spirit Tap, Priests actually gain a lot from extra spirit, which is why I went out of my way to find some really nice weapons with a lot of spirit to give you some extra goodies to look forward to while you're making your way from level 1 to 60. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, at the beginning of your journey, all you get is a worn mace, which isn't really that helpful. However, from your early teens you can get this out of Ragefire Chasm, the Staff of Orgrimmar, a staff that offers you 4 intellect and 2 spirit. And because this is part of a quest called Hidden Enemies, and not a drop, you are pretty much guaranteed a nice beginner staff once you've done one run of Ragefire Chasm. And then from level 17 and up we come across another familiar staff, the Crescent Staff. Familiar because at this level there's nothing that has such good stats and is so easily obtainable. It has 7 intellect, 7 stamina and 7 spirit, making it great for your priests. It requires you to run the Wailing Caverns and complete the quest Leaders of the Fang. Then, a few levels later, at around level 20, I'd like to throw in a weapon we haven't seen before, and that is Odo's Lay Staff. Now this staff has 19 extra stat points, while the Crescent Staff has 21. But like I said, Spirit is very valuable when you're a priest, and this staff offers you a lot more Spirit than the Crescent Staff, which is 12 instead of 7, alongside 5 stamina. This is a drop from the dungeon Shadowfang Keep, so it is harder to get, but it's definitely an item to look out for because of that high amount of Spirit. Speaking of high amount of spirit, there is another staff in your mid-20s you can try and get, which is the Rod of the Sleepwalker, which has 11 intellect and 10 spirit. This one is pretty much on par with the Crescent Staff in terms of stat points, but like Odo's Lay Staff, it offers more spirit, so again, this is a sweet item to look out for when you're a priest running Black Fathom Deeps. Just like Odo's Lay Staff, it's also a drop from a boss, so you have to be lucky with the drop chance and the rolls, so keep that in mind. What's not a drop chance is this familiar offhand, the Witch's Finger. Not exactly mind-blowing for a priest, but because you can get this from a quest in Black Fathom Deeps, you can pretty much get this alongside whatever else you're trying to get out of that dungeon. So with very little effort, you can pick this up as a little extra for when you have something in your main hand to combine it with. And the thing I was thinking about to combine it with is this, the Death Speaker Scepter, which drops in Razorfang Crawl. A one-handed mace with 1 spirit, 11 extra healing done, and 7 extra shadow damage done. This has Priest written all over it. The stats are absolutely amazing as it offers you bonus damage and bonus healing for when you need to heal yourself up or when you're running dungeons and you're the designated healer, so really it's the best of both worlds. That, and because there is no other class that can wear maces who can benefit from shadow damage, means you're probably going to see very little competition for this mace, so that's also a nice plus. Or let's say that it doesn't drop in Razorfang Crawl, you still have a chance to get this, the Swine Tusk Shank, which is a dagger that offers you 6 stamina and 4 spirit. If you manage to pick this up, you can combine this with your Witch's Finger to make a pretty decent combination, though it will offer you less spirit than let's say Odo's Lay Staff, so it all comes down to what you prefer to have in terms of stats. However, there is one more item we definitely have to mention that drops in Razorfang Crawl, and that is the Wind Spirit Staff. I mean, it even has spirit in the name, so it has to be good, right? Well, it's not just good, it's really good. It offers 5 intellect, 3 stamina, and a massive 15 spirit. That, for a level 27 item, is amazing. The only problem is that it drops off of a rare mob, so the chances of picking this up is fairly low, but it's definitely something to be on the lookout for as you're running through this dungeon. Then we get to our mid-30s bracket, where you can start doing Scarlet Monastery Library for a few items. First up, the Hypnotic Blade, a dagger with 8 intellect, 3 spirit and 9 spell damage. That 9 spell damage makes this item worth getting, as any weapon with offensive stats is very hard to come by, which also means competition for this item will be pretty high. What also drops from the same boss though is this, the Illusionary Rod, a staff with 15 intellect, 7 stamina and 10 spirit. All in all, an amazing staff that offers you tons of extra stat points, so another great item to look out for when running this dungeon. And last but not least, we have to mention the Omega Orb again, which is obtained through a simple quest called Companion of the Fallen, offering you 11 spell damage, which will offer you 20 spell damage if you're lucky enough to get the Hypnotic Blade, and that's not too shabby when you're in your mid-30s. However, for the priest, there is one more item we have to check out which drops in Scarlet Monastery Cathedral, which you can do in your late 30s. And that item is the Hand of the Righteousness, a mace with 8 spirit and 15 extra healing done. Now while it's not a hard offensive weapon, that 8 spirit still boosts your spirit tab quite decently, and that 15 extra healing will be amazing when you're throwing yourself a renew while leveling or when you're healing in dungeons. It is a drop though, so you better pray to the gods of RNG that you're lucky on the drops and the rolls. Then we get to our mid-40s bracket where we're gonna check out 2 staves. First up, a familiar weapon, the Zumbra's Vexing Cane, which drops in Zul'Farrak. A staff with 10 intellect, 10 stamina and 21 damage and healing. Now while this doesn't offer you any spirit, the other stats really make up for it. Plenty of intellect, stamina, and more importantly, a very nice 21 extra spell damage, which makes this item almost a no-brainer for any priest, or any caster for that matter. And that also means the competition for this weapon is high, so it might be tricky to actually obtain this while you're running Zul'Farrak. So because of that, I'd like to offer you an alternative that might not be as good, but is still half decent, the Staff of Lore, a 2-handed staff with 5 intellect and 18 spirit. That 18 spirit is the main reason I put it on here, because that's actually not too shabby for a green staff in your mid-40s, and unlike the Zumbra's Vexing Cane, it's obtained through a quest, so no luck and RNG involved with this one. It involves the quest Gazridian. Then we arrive in the early 50s bracket, where we're checking out this weapon you can get from the Sunken Temple, the Spire of Akar. A staff with 16 stamina, 16 spirit and 18 spell damage. This is probably a dream weapon for any priest in the early 50s. A staff with a nice amount of spirit and a fair bit of spell damage, so I'd say this is definitely an item to shoot for. Just keep in mind that this drops off the Spirit of Akar, which you can only summon if someone has the Egg of Akar or Yakinya's Scroll. So if you want to get this and you're forming a group, make sure you have it yourself or someone else before you step into that dungeon. And then we get to the last leveling bracket, the mid to late 50s, where you'll probably be finding yourself running Blackrock Depths. Now while there's nothing really mind-blowing that drops here, there's still 4 items I want to mention. First up, the Kindling Stave. A staff with 12 intellect, 10 stamina, 13 spirit, 10 fire resistance and 1% increased critical strike chance with spells. Now the crit chance isn't really that amazing for priests, and the base stats aren't anything to write home about. So I'd say this is something you want to shoot for if, let's say, you haven't been lucky at all with getting the previous items and you're just starving for an upgrade. Next up is this, the Guiding Stave of Wisdom. A staff with 11 stamina, 10 spirit, 10 frost resistance and 53 healing done. Now yes, this has healing item written all over it, and it's not exactly gonna give you a boost to your damage while leveling, but since we're talking about a level range where you're getting closer and closer to level cap, it's smart to already start thinking about what items to bag for when you hit level 60. So let's say you want to go holy at level 60 and join a raiding guild, then this is definitely a great starter weapon to boost your healing done. That's pretty much why I just had to put this on here. Same goes for this weapon, the Hammer of Grace, another weapon you can get out of Blackrock Depths and also from a boss that you're going to kill anyway when running that dungeon. A one-handed mace with 31 extra healing done. Combined with a nice offhand, this can provide you with some amazing healing done, and again, it's a nice item to look out for if you want to switch to Holy at level 60 and start your career as a healing priest. So, what nice offhand did I have in mind? Well, another item that drops in Blackrock Depths, which is Thorison's Royal Scepter, an offhand with 5 intellect, 5 stamina, 10 spirit and 22 healing done. This thing has healer written all over it, and if you're lucky enough to bag yourself the Hammer of Grace, you'll have an amazing combination that will definitely help you in keeping your friends alive when going through dungeons and raids. And now we're going to turn the clock back and go all the way to level 1, because now we need to talk about what wands to get for your priest. So first up, we're starting out with a crowd favorite, the Lesser Magic Wand. A wand with 11.33 DPS and a 1.5 attack speed. Like I said before, wands at early level are very powerful, so you should try and get this as soon as you can. It's crafted by an enchanter though, so either level up enchanting yourself or find a friend who can make this for you for a small fee. Then we have another familiar wand that you can get from level 17 and up, the Fire Belcher. A wand with 20.29 DPS and a 1.7 attack speed. A great upgrade from your lesser magic wand, though it does drop off of a rare mob in Welling Caverns, so it is, admittedly, kinda hard to get. What isn't hard to get is this one, the Gravestone Scepter, a wand with 29 DPS, 1.5 attack speed, 1 spirit, and 5 shadow resistance. A great wand that is obtained by doing Black Fathom Deeps and completing a quest that takes place in that dungeon, so one run pretty much guarantees you a very powerful wand in your mid-20s. Then in your late 30s you can shoot for this wand, Gnomish Zapper, a wand with 32.7 DPS and a very quick 1.3 attack speed. Now while there are bonus stats on the Gravestone Scepter, they are so minimal that it might be a better idea to drop that for a wand with more damage, hence why I just had to recommend this one as well. You can get this one from the quest Sunken Treasure. A couple of levels later and we arrive in the mid-40s bracket, where you can try and get this, the Chill Nail Splinter, a wand with 37.14 DPS and a 1.4 attack speed. It's part of the quest Challenge Overlord Mok Morok, so no luck involved with drop chance or winning a roll, which is kinda nice, and it offers a bit more damage than the Gnomish Zapper, so definitely an item to look out for. Then in your late 40s you can try and do a Mardon run to get this, the Noxious Shooter, a wand with 50 DPS, 1.6 attack speed, 7 stamina and 5 nature resistance, which will offer you a big upgrade over any previously obtained wands in this list. There is one thing to keep in mind though, and that is that Mardon won't be available at launch. And then last but definitely not least, we have the Woe Stave, a wand with 51.32 DPS, 1.9 attack speed, 3 stamina, but more importantly, 11 extra shadow damage done. That right there makes this wand an absolute no-brainer for any Shadow Priest. And it's also part of a priest-specific quest chain, so again, no worries about drop chance or rolls, which is nice. Just keep in mind that there are multiple rewards you can get from this quest chain, including a very nifty healing trinket, so if you're planning on going holy at level 60, you might actually want to skip this and get the trinket instead. Still though, it's an item I just had to recommend because the stats on this are just amazing. And there you go guys, a nice selection of weapons for all you priests out there to pick up while you're making your way from level 1 to 60. I hope I was able to help you guys out there, and as always, I want to thank you for watching this video. I'm Hamsterwheel and have a good one.